Has the market changed its mind about what the Fed may do next?
We have got to get inflation behind us. I wish there were a painless way to do that. There isn't.
Think of that number, and maybe more importantly, what do you think the Fed's going to do, and therefore what their equity is going to do?
I've been saying over and over again to my colleagues here that he wants your portfolio down so that you won't be able to spend as much.
I'm Christopher Crystal with Financial Stockholm, and these are my views, my opinions about the market. So what we're seeing in the Swedish press this morning was a big discussion about the new Prime Minister in the UK, Rishi Sunak. And of course, the Swedish press focuses on his investment banking experience and his hedge fund experience, but very little on his policy. So they're taking more kind of a viewpoint of his wealth and claiming that he has 2 times the wealth of King Charles III. That's immaterial to me, other than to prove that, well, maybe he knows how to make more money. It didn't take him a few hundred years to do it and inherit it. So the views are generally there, but there's very little discussion about the rest of politics throughout Europe, whether Italy is getting gas from Russia, whether the German economy is in a deep recession or already in the starting phases of the recession. You have more business insolvencies being announced, and you'll have probably more at the turn of the year as gas contracts are changed and eliminated and or renegotiated. You have no discussion of the Paris demonstrations over the weekend about the high cost and what the impact could be, how we would see that in Sweden. What we do have in Sweden is our own Ebba Busch is down in Luxembourg negotiating for our energy ministry about the possibility of gas caps, price caps on the gas, what we're paying, or what the retribution or refunding will be to the homeowners for the high gas prices that they had to pay recently, and when that will be implemented. The government itself had campaigned with a November 1st solution for lower gas prices. We're just around the corner from the 1st of November. We'll see if we get a trick or a treat for Halloween and what the All Saints Day will bring us. But Ebba Busch is toning down the expectations. And you have, of course, the previous government, people giving a lot of aspersions and throwing as much mud as they can to make it look like this government is in disarray. So we'll see what happens. And we'll see how the Swedish households are adjusting. We do know that we're joining, or we've applied to join NATO, and that would mean an increase in our own defense budget spending, which will go up to 2%. So that's a significant increase there that the taxpayer will have to burden. And then there is an application cost requirement where you're supposed to spend 2% of your GDP to be a part of NATO. So that would be a 4% total for the Swedish economy to handle. And then that, of course, will ride on the back of the Swedish citizen and the taxpayers. And we have seen a budget shortfall because there are less people driving into Stockholm. That was one of the ways that they were getting people to pay, through these traffic taxes. And so we'll see how this resolves, but at present, there's no real discussion of it. We do have articles discussing shipping and the issue of COSTCO, the Chinese shipper, which is 3rd largest in the world, and how they're shipping into Hamburg. What's hidden into the article is the discussion of Taiwan. And so the question becomes now, as we have the sanctions in place against Russia over Ukraine and the war, which doesn't look to be resolved anytime soon, how would this affect the European economy if we had similar sanctions to China? What will be the resolution if China absorbs Taiwan, as they've stated they will do, and has stated for the long term that Taiwan is not independent and should not be seen as independent, and should be seen as a part of China. And when this finally occurs, if they do it through a buyout, so to speak, of Taiwan, if they get voted into China, we'll watch this carefully. But this, if we have a disruption of Chinese trade and Chinese trade ships coming into Europe, would sink effectively the German economy, as so much of their budget comes from the trade through the Hamburg ports and other ports. But no real statement there, but we are looking at a increased, diminished outlook for Europe and our manufacturing and our trading and our shipping. So we'll have to keep an eye there. We do have companies reporting today. We've had some of our companies like our SSAB, the steel company, or SKF, which is a key component for the ball bearings used in a lot of the manufacturing products, coming out, and no real differing in what's happened, where you see the forecasting being lower for the rest of the year or for next year. But what you might see some sort of earnings surprise here and there, but I don't think anything is really unexpected. So I would not expect too much out of this. We do have Microsoft reporting later today, and we'll get to see some of the other tech companies like Alphabet coming out, and we'll see how their advertising revenue is doing. I think Europe is something like 7% of their advertising. So we'll have to keep an eye on that to get a better dial in for the market. But interestingly, within the Swedish banks and Swedish prognosticators, see a lot of people saying go away from the real estate market, which has traditionally been a long-term winner, and they're basing this on the short term or mean reversion of rates going back up. So I find that interesting that they would be shying away in a time when this might be seen not yet as the buying opportunity, but they're not making more real estate unless you're building an island somewhere. But that doesn't seem to work so well. And in Sweden, we may get more real estate because we're on a country where the land is actually lifting up. So it's small percentages, but I wouldn't say that it's the best prognosis to say start selling your real estate, as it is such a key component to our Swedish GDP. So that's what we're looking at today, and we'll keep you posted. But otherwise, thank you very much. Wish you happy investing, and have a great day. Thank you. Bye.